What is the most a tuxedo cat can expect from life? A stolen scrap of fish from a market stall? A dry corner in a quiet alley to sleep through the winter? For a stray in the heart of Paris, life is a simple, brutal equation. Find food, stay warm, and survive until tomorrow. But this cat, subject C341, later known as Felicette, was not destined for the shadows of the city. In an era where human ambition and pride reached for the heavens, she was plucked from the streets to be bolted into a rocket and launched into the great unknown. Behind the closed doors of the French space program, her life became a series of clinical tortures. To prepare her for the unknown, they pushed her body to the brink of collapse. She was strapped into high-speed centrifuges that spun until the gravity threatened to crush her organs. But the most invasive part was the mapping of her mind. To monitor her brain activity during flight, surgeons drilled into her skull, permanently embedding permanent electrodes into her brain. They sent jolts of electricity through her nervous system to test her reactions. Every twitch of her whiskers and every involuntary muscle spasm was recorded as data. She wasn't a living being anymore. She was a biological machine being calibrated for a suicide mission. Before she could touch the stars, Félicette had to survive the crushing weight of the Earth itself. The centrifuge, a brutal machine designed to simulate the violent forces of a rocket launch, became her daily reality. As the metal arm spun faster and faster, the G-force intensified. Her small body was pressed into the floor of the capsule with a weight several times her own mass. At these speeds, every breath becomes a struggle. The chest feels like it's being flattened by an invisible lead plate, and the heart must labor twice as hard to pump blood to the brain. Most animals would have panicked, clawing at the walls until their hearts gave out. But Félicette remained eerily still, her eyes dilated in the flickering lab lights. She was being conditioned to endure the crush, the moment when the rocket fights the atmosphere. The scientists watched through monitors, recording how many Gs her tiny skeleton could take before snapping. To them, she was a stress test in a tuxedo. To her, the world was simply a blur of noise and agonizing weight. October 18, 1963. While the electrodes in her brain hummed with electric tension, Félicette was launched 157 kilometers into the sky. For 5 minutes in the silence of weightlessness, the sensors recorded her brain's reaction to the void. She was the first of her kind to see the curve of the Earth, tethered to life by the very wires that pierced her skull. She returned alive, a hero of France. But the electrodes that sent her into space were also her death warrant. The scientists wanted the physical brain they had been monitoring. Only 3 months after her return, while the world was still celebrating her triumph, Félicette was euthanized. They didn't kill her because she was sick. They killed her because they wanted to see what the electricity and the vacuum had done to her tissues. Her reward for bravery was a cold scalpel. For decades, her sacrifice was a footnote. We remembered the dogs and the monkeys, but we forgot the quiet tuxedo girl, Félicette. From the mud of Paris to the edge of the universe, she bore the shocks and the wires so that we could understand the stars. Today, she finally rests where she belongs. No longer a test subject, but a legend.